You see, grandma phone was show more. So okay, assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Um, I wasn't necessarily prepared to do this on my own. I thought it would be a panel session, but inshallah, we're going to have the best time. So today, my name is Rahma. My name is Dr. Rahma Falashade Omoli. I'm a mental health and wellness enthusiast. I love everything and anything mental health. I've had a few run ins with depression and anxiety myself. I've had to go through psycho and pharmacotherapy. Alhamdulillah, I'm in a much better space now. And coincidentally, I also happen to be currently be in a caregiver position. So Alhamdulillah or Inshallah, I'm able to do justice to this topic. And we're going to be talking about self-compassion. So the role of self-care in maintaining a healthy well-being. Self-care is everything, and I so much love the title, the heading, the self-compassion aspect, because for you to be in a position to take care of yourself, you have to be in a space where you have compassion for yourself. You genuinely want to take care of yourself. You have empathy towards yourself. And we'll also be explaining how this is key to maintaining a healthy well-being. So the thing with caregiving is basically the same as when you give. When they say givers, with giving, you have to be careful because you find that those that take, and so you find that you're always giving, always giving, always giving, and then you're so burnt out. Burnout is one of the key things that we're going to be discussing as well today. I was having this conversation with somebody last night, and they were actually advising me as regards how not to get burnt out. So the idea is this: imagine that you're a torch. So, say you're a lighter in this regard. They use you to light, say, a gas cooker, cigarettes, whatever you have. Um, so, with a lighter, when you need it, you use it. There are some lighters that are so obscure, such that you don't know that it's almost empty. The gas is empty until you just press it one day and it has nothing to give. That is literally how draining caregiving can be. So, what we're going to be talking about here will be ways not to be that lighter. You don't have to hit rock bottom. You don't have to hit rock bottom in caring for other people, in taking care of others. Your body is an amana. That is genuinely what I believe. And that is another way for people who might be here currently who are struggling with self care because it's selfish, and who worry about self care becoming selfish, even if they are not ordinarily selfish people. I remind myself that I am a responsibility that Allah has given myself. I am an amana, And with everything that is an amana, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask me how I took care of it. Allah placed you in this position, this caregiving position. So you are responsible for this person. But before Allah will ask you about that person, He will ask you about yourself first. This body that He has given you, this mind, how have you catered to it? How have you taken care of it? He will ask you those questions. So, like I was saying with the lighter, you want to ensure that you don't get to the point where you do not have anything to give. Because the downside to this is you will there will be more people. That's the funny thing. It's like when people keep on asking you for money, the day that you say you don't have money, somehow they will be fine. But you literally do not have any money. You will not be okay. So when I was in medical school, my mom would say something. She would say that there are so many doctors out there. There are tens of thousands of doctors out there, but there is only one you, Rahma. If you were to die in theater today working on a patient, they will wheel you out and bring in another doctor to fill your spot. But for us, your loved ones, there's only one Rahma ever, like ever, ever. And that's how it is. That's how you should see yourself as well. When it comes to the roles that we play towards other people or we play in other people's lives, we are replaceable. Whether it is as a spouse, a sibling, um, maybe even a child, you are replaceable. You are you, your essence is your essence. But in terms of the things that you do for them, there will always be somebody else that can do it too. Even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said it in the Quran that if He has brought us here to worship Him, and if we do not, He will erase us and bring those who will. Even in terms of seeking forgiveness, when you commit sins and then you seek forgiveness, Allah gives you more chances. He forgives you. He loves you even more. And He said, if we do not commit those sins, if we do not ask for forgiveness, He will bring those who will, because He loves it when we go to Him in repentance. He loves it when we do, when we make dua towards Him. So, in this regard as well, you need to put yourself first, remembering that it is only one you that exists in this realm of affairs. Okay? So, this that I just said is for anybody who might be struggling with the concept of self care, particularly when they feel responsible towards somebody. Caregiving is usually used for when you're dealing with elderly people, but it could also be for mothers. It could be for mothers. Another important reason why this is key is that it tells on you. How do I put this? You don't want to get to a point where you look at yourself and you're a shadow of you. You don't recognize yourself anymore. You're a shell of whom you used to be. And then in healthcare, you realize that a lot of caregivers reach a point where they themselves need to be cared for. So you become institutionalized because you've burnt out so much. You now need help psychologically, physically. It's not a good space to be in. So one of the things that I'm going to divide this into 7 aspects, and I'm going to just talk briefly on them because of time limitations. But where I'm going to start, one thing I'm going to say is, where are we? Okay, so some of the things that we're going to be talking about today is um, mindsets around caregiving that are not very good for you. Okay, these are things that you think in your head that are probably making caregiving a lot more harder on you and making you a lot more prone to burnout than you should be. Okay, so there's this thing with the struggle mentality, where it's like, or even with worrying, if I'm not worried about it, if I'm not constantly worrying about it, it won't get done. Or if I don't look, even with, say, poverty mindset, if I don't look a certain way, people will not believe my predicaments. There's a woman I know that goes to the market dressed in next to rags because she believes that if she does not dress a certain way, she will not be perceived a certain way, and then she will be charged differently from if she had just dressed that way. So basically, she dresses that way so that she can be charged less. So if you are the kind of person that believes that I have to look like what I am going through, that's not a good mindset to have. You run into a lot of trouble that way. You don't have to you do not have to look like you are burnt out to show people that you are doing something for this person. So it's not until somebody rushes in the house and you look like you've not showered in days before they know that this person is really trying. Or that mindset is not good. And then you should really check your niyyah if you're doing it for people or you're doing it for this person. If you're doing it for people or you're doing it for Allah rather. Another thing is if I did more, they would appreciate it more. One other thing that people causes a lot of stress for people that are in caregiving roles is not being appreciated enough. It's very funny, whether it's with children or it's with the elderly people or it's with the disabled. A lot of times you will feel underappreciated. They will throw the things you do in your face. They will make you feel so bad for the things that you do. It's bad enough that you feel like you're not doing enough, but even the things that you do, they will make you feel bad about it. So for in cases like this, when you tell yourself, "Oh, if only I did more, if I tried this, it doesn't work like that." Don't stress yourself. Don't stress yourself because now what it means is that your perception of your efforts is now dependent on their appreciation of what you are doing for them, and that is a dangerous thing to do. You owe only Allah. Only Allah. He's the one that can truly assess your abilities. This is a different thing from maybe you need to be more patient with this person, you need to work on your attitude, you need to work on managing your stress. This is different. Don't tie down your level of sincerity to the level of appreciation that you get from other people. Okay, that is a mindset that you need to change as well. Another one is this is my cross to bear. I can't place it on others. I am going to believe that I'm speaking to Muslim women here. We are women. I am a firm believer in I am not a machine. I am not a superwoman. I will say it anywhere, everywhere, any day, anytime. I need to be babied. I am not I'm not a strong woman. If I need to stand up or rise to the occasion, I will. But that is not an identity that I embrace or choose to embrace. If you see me struggling, it's not by choice. There was once a time when I would go for the harder path because I felt like the harder it is, the more rewarding it is. It is a lie. It is a lie. Your the rewards, the your effort, the effort you put in, regardless of how mundane the task is enough to validate you, is enough to make you feel like you're doing something beautiful. It does not have to be something that stresses the heck out of you. So another way that I see this thing, this mindset that I said you should challenge, this one of this is my cross to bear, I can't place it on others, is if you come from the perspective of it is you should be honored that I allow you to do this thing for me. You should see it as a blessing. I'm giving you an opportunity to gain Allah's blessings, to gain Allah's mercy. Allah will love you even more for helping me in this way. This is not for narcissistic this is not for people that have narcissistic tendencies. This is not for highly selfish individuals. This is for people that struggle with allowing other people to help them. The funny thing is that people like that are more prone to help others, but they don't know how to receive help. Maybe if you saw it as I'm actually doing this person a favor, because when they help me, Allah will be so impressed, Allah will be so happy with them, He's going to give them more rewards. So even when I want to bill my dad, for example, that's why I tell him, Allah will reward you. Like, I'm doing you a favor. Do you know how much more blessings Allah is going to give you because I allowed you to do this for me? I know that I can do it. We are built to do it. But that is not the only thing we are built to do. We are not doing beings. We are beings. Just be. Allow other people to use their energy. Don't see it as something you have to do alone. You don't have to go at it alone. Allow your loved ones the opportunity to step in and show up for you in the ways that you need. Another one is I don't do it, another mindset is if I don't do it myself, it won't get done the way I like it done. You have to prioritize. When you are trying to be self-compassionate with yourself in a caregiving role, you have to prioritize. I genuinely believe that nobody can do my things the way I like them to be done. But when you are in a role where you are taking care of somebody, you have to ask yourself, is the priority for this thing to get done, or the priority is for it to get done in a way that I like? No, you have to dip it. You have to really sit down and ask yourself, these clothes, do I need them folded or not? It doesn't matter if it's the lines are not aligning, if the colors were not sorted properly, if if the shapes do not look alike, as long as the clothes get folded, because you need them folded. So pick a struggle. Pick a struggle. Another one is, help is expensive. Everything is expensive. Everything is expensive. You pick your affordable. So basically, it's like, I cannot afford to have somebody come in and do this for me. I don't have that kind of money. I cannot afford to have somebody help me with this. I don't have that kind of money. If you have money for other things, you have money. You just do not see help as a priority enough on your financial to-do list. So you need to get honest with yourself and make an order of, what is it called in economics? There's a term in economics. Basically, you arrange in terms of priorities. If you know that you need help and you are telling yourself that you cannot afford it, it is not that you cannot afford it. It is that you literally have other things that you would rather spend your money on. You know, and this is speaking from the perspective of when there is money, but you just don't see help as something you should pay for, or it's just a luxury. It's not a luxury, particularly for women, and you don't want to get burnt out. I genuinely believe in paying, for things that pay for things that scale of preference. Thank you so much. Thank you. So pay for things that other people can do, so that you have the energy to do the things that only you can do. And the beautiful thing about all of this is that sometimes you don't even have to pay. And I'm going to get to that when I go into how your community can help you. So let me quickly leave mindsets alone so that we can get there quickly, but we can get there on time. Another thing now is, now that we've challenged your mindset, I'm going to speak from a spiritual point of view, because we're Muslim women and Islam is literally what directs our course of life. So for me, I found that with caregiving and not burning myself out, the first step is always, always, always fine-tuning my niyyah. Why am I doing this? Who am I doing this for? Where does my reward lie? Anybody can come in and be like, oh, well done. Thank you for taking care of your grandmom. Oma shere fun no, blah, 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 blah. That one is just, yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate it, but that's not why I do what I do. I do this for the sake of Allah. I do this because it is mandated in the Quran for us to do so. I do this because I have sins that nobody else knows about but me, that I want Allah to wash me off. I do this because I am obligated to do it. I do it because I love my grandmom. But ultimately, my grandmom is a human being. If it was not for the sake of Allah, wallahi, when you do things for Allah, subhanallah, there are so many things that it will curtail. They will get you upset. You will not be rude to them because you know that Allah said da 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 da. You get frustrated. So maybe they are calling you, you don't want to respond. You know that I'm going to answer to Allah on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, because this woman is going to be upset that I'm not calling her, and then she might get sad or something. Bottom line is, Allah remains that guiding path. He remains that guiding light on this path of caregiving. It makes it easier for me to endure a lot, because you need a lot of resilience. That is my utmost tip for building resilience, because there will be days where you have had it up to you feel like it can be very, very frustrating. But when you know that this is for the sake of Allah, and you understand the fact that your very presence on earth is to serve Allah, you see it as a valid way of being in Allah's good books, you'll be able to endure everything. everything. And then my second point now is going back to Allah, because there will be days where you feel like, Ya Rabbi, I know that you said you will not place upon us burdens beyond what we can bear, but it's looking as though this body, is starting to burden you. I cannot do it anymore. I cannot handle this. You go back to Allah. So I've been praying for something. I've been asking for something for the longest time. Allah finally did it. And it seemed like there were just too many blessings at once for me to handle. I was almost losing my mind. It was so bad that I was getting into decision fatigue where I could not even do anything at all. And then somebody reminded me to go back to Allah. You asked him for these things. He is doing them now. Go back to him and tell him that, Ya Rabbi, these things that you are giving me, this, and this, or these, and these are the ways that it is affecting me. Ease it for me. Help me through it. Because sometimes you think you are prepared for the blessings you've been expecting, but they hit you, and you're like, you stagger a bit. Go back to Allah. Like literally, talk to him like you talk to your girlfriend. Talk to him like you are speaking to your therapist. Tell him this, and this. You even say like you're gisting. Just tell Allah. Update him. He already knows, oh, but he wants you to say it. He wants to hear it from you. Don't play mind games with Allah. Allah sees everything, even the one you did not know that you will think. He has thought it for you. He knows what you think before you think it. Tell him. Still tell him. Okay, so that's the second one in terms of the way my spiritual, just looking at life from a spiritual angle, helps me to remain grounded. Another thing is practicing practical tawakkul. Let me say it again: practicing practical tawakkul. Everybody can say, Tawakkaltu ala Allah, Allah is the one that will do for me. He has done it for me. I have absolute trust in Allah. We cannot say it. Everybody can say it. But that tawakkul gets tested by your ability to continually go to Allah with every little distress. Every little distress. I don't know anybody that has parents that are ready to bankroll their entire lifestyle, worrying about anything money related. It's like when you know that you just have the money. This way you know that, oh, okay, I want to get something, I can just call. I want to get that one, I can just call. It's like having your daddy, and that your daddy likes to spoil you. Or for those that are married, you have a husband that, I believe that some people have more tawakkul in their husbands than in Allah. Because the way at which you can call that man, you know that he will pick. You know that he will answer you, even if he's on the war front. Isashabi is calling him. He will pick that call. Have that level of trust and more in Allah, that no matter what is happening in your life, whether it is very tiny or very big, if you call him, he will answer immediately. Call him with the urgency with which you will call your spouse. Call him first, and you will see the beautiful ways in which you will show up for him. I had a conversation with my dad still yesterday, and I was telling him how I did not realize until now how I've not been good at allowing him to show up for me in the way a mahram is meant to show up for a woman in her life. So I'm the kind of person that if I have money, I will do stuff. Like I'm not a hyper independent woman. Like I try very hard to retrace that fact. The highest is interdependence. But yes, I will spend your money and all of that. But if I have that money at hand, like say you give it to me, I have it. I won't necessarily call you to tell you about my every step and actions. But in Islam, you're supposed to do that with your mahrams. In fact, you're not supposed to just call them and say, oh, I'm on my way somewhere. You talk to them about this place that you are going. Allow them to show up for you. So in this regard, my dad and I actually spoke about this place I was going. We weighed it, and he decided the answer was no. We spoke about it, and I was able to respect his decision. And that was when it hit me that how many of these kinds of decisions have I made without involving them? Physical decisions that require my physical presence and involvement that might later not be detrimental to me, you know? So that is the way in which I feel as though we don't involve Allah enough. We don't involve Allah enough. You are upset at something, call on Allah. You're thinking about something, tell Allah about it. Carry him along. You feel one type of way, Tell Allah. This caregiving role is too much for you. Tell Allah. You want help, but your husband is refusing. Tell Allah. He will show up for you in ways beyond your imagination. Okay? So that is that about that. Another thing is husnul khuluq. This one is another favorite, which is believing the absolute best about Allah. Thinking about Allah in the absolute best way possible. When we think negatively about situations, like, only God knows how long I will do this one for. How long do I have to take care of this person? How long will I be here? I feel so stuck. Maybe there's really nothing to look forward to. When you think negatively, you're literally assuming negative things about what Allah will do in your life. And when you think positively, is literally you thinking positively about the role that Allah will play or the decisions that Allah has made for your life. But when you think good of Allah and you genuinely believe His words, when Allah says that every decision, every happening, everything that happens to a believer is for the good, is beautiful. When you genuinely believe that Allah will only act in your best interest, even the things that happen that you perceive to be negative, you start to see as positive. It might be very painful. In fact, some will be very painful. But there's this peace of mind. There's this absolute peace of mind and sakina, tranquility that will be in you. That thing will come and go. They always do. Even the good ones come and go. But the state of your heart, of your mind, your soul in that process is what your husnul khuluq will do for you. So regardless of how stuck you feel or how terrible you feel, if you start to think good thoughts about each thing that happens, wallahi, your perspective will change and your situation will start to change as well. What is happening might not even change you, but you will change. Your heart will change. You will be happier, you will be lighter. So this now takes me to self-advocacy. And here is where I say be honest with yourself and with everybody else around you. If you know that this thing is too much, being honest is telling Allah the truth. If you're not able to admit the fact that this thing is weighing me down, how will you say it to Allah? How will you say it to those around you? You have to be honest. That is number one rule of self-advocacy. Any advocacy, you want to call out evil in this world, you have to first admit that there is evil. You want to call out something bad that is happening, you have to be honest enough to admit the fact that this thing is happening. That is one of the most important steps to actively doing self-advocacy. So when you're able to admit this and admit it to other people as well, the process begins. Because the first step to solving a problem is identifying that there is a problem in the first place. So you sit with yourself, allow yourself to feel uncomfortable with the fact that now this is going into psychology. Let me just leave that. Let me leave that. But basically, be honest with yourself. Another way you can advocate for yourself is to hire help. Again, I will say it. I am very big on hiring help. There is only so much you can do as a woman. Not because you cannot do it or you were not made to do it. I say this thing. It's like when we were young and they would say, what a man can do, a woman can do better. No. What a man can do, a man should keep doing. What a woman can do, a woman should keep doing. At the end of the day, it comes back full circle. We are helping ourselves. As a matter of fact, what you as a woman can do, you can still hire other people to do it. It doesn't make you any less. And it does not mean you are wasting money. Because what you are gaining in the process is a more present, more grounded, more feminine, soft, loving, nurturing woman. And your loved ones will thank you for it. You'll feel less frustrated. You'll feel less resentful when you know that you can focus on one particular thing as opposed to you are the one doing everything. And hiring help is not dependent on whether or not you have machines, because remember that you still be the one to use the machines. Please get somebody that can focus on aspects of caregiving that does not need your presence, like doing the dishes, doing laundry. There are so many other ways that your person that you are providing care for will want only you to do. Focus on those ones. So that's the third one. The fourth will now be intentional self-care. And this is where I show you or tell you ways that you can put systems in place, and then maybe some wiggle rooms also. Okay? So you have to be intentional about this now. This part I want to talk about. You have to really put in the work to ensure that you are taking care of yourself. So first is have borderlines and rituals. So it could be I must shower before bed daily. You will be surprised at how caregiving can be so consuming that there are people that don't shower. In a week, they might not shower once. They might not shower once. Maybe not a week, maybe 3 days, maybe 4 days. Don't do that to yourself. Don't don't do that to yourself. You don't want to do that to yourself. So have a borderline, have a ritual every night before I go to bed. Even if it is just to pour water on my body, I must take a bath before I go to bed. Regardless of what is happening, even if the sky is falling, I must take what's it called, a bath before I go to bed. And then another thing you can do again is, so say for example, so in order to make that work, because sometimes it's not that simple, you can say with hair, for example, one way that I ensure that I do my hair every week is to pay somebody, and we have a routine. It's like when you know the children must be in school by 8:30, so the driver must be around and available by 8. So the driver is there outside waiting for you. You might run late sometimes, but the driver is there waiting. You are literally delaying this person that is waiting to take you somewhere. But imagine if the driver was not there. You might even decide not to go at all. They will not die. It's cool. So when you put those systems in place, it helps to keep you in check. So, like with solar, for example, those should be non-negotiables. Have non-negotiables. No matter what happens, I'm going to go and pray. I will pray. Another one is be a thief of moments. This is my favorite, and this is something that has worked for me. So, like I said, you find that you compromise on some things. Those that do not shower in a week, it's not as if you don't want to shower. But by the time you are doing this one for that person, doing that one, blah, 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 you find that you end up realizing that, oh my goodness, I've actually not taken a bath today. Is that bad? So when I say be a thief of moments, this is one way to do it. Say you need to urinate, you need to ease yourself in the morning. Even though you know, for example, in like the first thing I do every morning, I'm supposed to take my grandmother's vitals, like take her BP, all those things. Once I enter the bathroom to ease myself, before I leave, I do all the things I can do. Don't make it too much that you don't get overwhelmed or you feel like, that will take too much time. She's waiting for me. As you ease yourself, reach for your toothbrush, brush your teeth, and wash your face. You've done something, a magnificent something. Because before you know it now, you've not brushed and it is already nightfall. A beautiful lady. So do those little things. You know that, okay, let me look for another simple one that I do again. Say, for example, you might be the one feeding them, like say with children. When you make their meals, as you are preparing their meals, you can have a quick snack that you munch on. You munch on it. It might not be the same as sitting down for a full meal. The idea is at the end of the day, you have something in your belly. At the end of the day, maybe you didn't get to do a full body scrub and a full facial routine, but you had a bath. You are not smelling. You feel refreshed, So these are little ways that you can just steal some moments in the day to take care of yourself as well without feeling guilty. Another one is create a checklist of ways that burnt out you shows up in your life. That seemed too fast. Let me go at it again. So you have a checklist, but you identify ways that your body tells you that I am burnt out. You can divide them into spiritual, physical, mental. So for me, spiritually, it could be I'm missing my solar, and then I have to jumble everything together at the end of the day. That is one way to show that I am being burnt out. Because normal me, I won't joke with my solar. The same with taking a bath. Physical could be with your body. It could be you realize that you're actually eating only one meal a day, or you've not eaten the whole day. That could be on your checklist. Those are little ways to know that something is wrong. If you're not looking for direct ways like that, another way could be you're cranky. So write cranky there. I get cranky. That could be one way to tell. As a matter of fact, don't you might not be able to easily identify I have not eaten, but you can write I get cranky, and I will tell you why. So when you write you get cranky, another way you can do it is um I go silent. I go radio silent. When I'm overwhelmed and burnt out, I go radio silent. So what you then do is you give this list, you make copies, send these lists to your loved ones, those that get to see you or speak to you on a daily. You let them have that list, and then you do a weekly check-in with them. This week, let them gauge it spiritually. What are the ways that they feel as though? So let's say with me now, for example, with my spiritual, maybe on a daily when I speak to my friends, we talk about a verse, we talk about Allah, something like that. If you notice that I didn't do any of that, probably there's something wrong. And then from there I can identify, actually, now that I think of it, oh, I didn't even pray the way I used to pray. Oh. Like my solar was all jumbled. It wasn't giving. Let me use that Gen Z language. It wasn't really giving. Then, when you make that checklist, make another list just beside it to identify the things that you do to de-stress or to get back on track. So let's say we've already spoken about being cranky, and then you know that things that could cause it could be you're not eating properly, blah blah blah. Beside that list, write one of I need a good meal. That's another way that you are showing up for yourself, but you're also allowing your communities to show up for you. So you have that list. They know what to do to help you. I might not be able to go out to have a proper meal, but somebody can order takeout for me and I eat it in the house. It could be small chops, it could be something. But basically, my nutritional needs are not being met. My loved ones know this because we've had the check-in. These are ways they can show up for me. And you also get to be responsible for yourself by ensuring that this week it might be something else that indicates that I'm being burnt out, but it does not repeat itself. What happened last week is not what is repeating itself. And you try and maintain the ones that you were able to maintain. You identify the ways you were able to maintain them. So spiritually, you seem like you were on a very beautiful spiritual high. Look at things that you did to help yourself. Another thing that I want to talk about before we round off is um, is finding ways to integrate. So integration, that's another key thing that I want to talk about here, because you might not always have time as a caregiver to dedicate a specific time for this, but within what you are doing, you can find ways to do things that serve you as well. Let me explain that more. So I love to recite the Quran when I can, but may Allah continue to make it easy for us and may He accept it. But the thing is that with my grandmom, she also loves reciting the Quran, but she's slower than I am. So it kills my flow. You know, what do? I will tell her. So what happens is that because we cannot recite together, I want her to recite also because she likes to recite. Yeah, be reciting, let me be checking it for you. I end up doing it for her, but I'm not doing it for myself. So in as much as I'm around the Quran, I'm not getting the satisfaction I need. But I want that satisfaction. This is where integration comes in. You tell her, Grandma, what if this time around I recite and you listen? You follow with your ears, even if you cannot follow with your eyes. So that's a way to integrate. You let her know, let me recite. So you're killing two birds with one stone. Either way, you've both gone through the Quran that day. You can even divide it into two. Let's say you have a 30-minute session. She reads first, you check for her, and then you tell her to be patient. You recite your own, she listens. That is a way of integrating. So you find common grounds between the two of you. The children like to do this. I like to do this. We can do this in this way together. Okay, another way that you can do this is watching tafsir sessions with her. So for when you want to integrate, when you want to use this integration method in terms of doing self-care for yourself, highlight spiritually. These are things that, those things we spoke about, the ones on the checklist that help you, your butterfly moments. Those are the ones. Butterfly moments are the opposite of your triggers, by the way. So let's say your trigger for being cranky is not eating. Your butterfly is I'm eating. I'm eating, or somebody bought food for me, or somebody made food for me. So in this regard, for for spiritual growth or just spiritual grounding, it could be reciting the Quran. So on that list of integration for the week, ensure that you get your own dose of Quran recitation in when you are reciting or when she is reciting as well. If it is tafsir, both of you can watch together because they love to watch stuff, even if it's the children. So for the children, for example, maybe you want to do some tafsir, you want to listen to some, but you want them to also listen in because they love watching stuff. You get to decide what to watch, but they like watching things. Put it in a children's channel that still does the tafsir. It might not be the way they would speak to the adults. So let's say they want to do a commentary or run a commentary on the story of Prophet Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. It might not be the way they would have spoken if you were an adult, if it was an adult YouTube channel, for example. But you will still gain something from watching from the children's own. It's still a reminder. It's beautiful, and you and the children get to have screen time. It is integration. Integration that leaves you feeling fulfilled, that leaves you feeling like you are also filling your tank. Okay? Another way that you can do this is, say for example, with chores. In the meantime, while you've not gotten your help, so there can be times when they will tell you to come and sit down, like with elderly people. They want to talk to you about something. They want us to shakiniko, carry your clothes and be folding them as you are talking. You are listening, you are doing the benima, all those things, but you are folding your clothes. The clothes are folded, you have listened to what she wants to say. All of you are satisfied, you know. So that's another way to go about it. Another way, so I put in the community aspect in the self advocacy already, but community help is a huge thing. It's a very, very huge thing also. Another way to do this is still integrating. Another way to get your community to help you is also integrating. How do I mean? So you have children, you also have to take care of an elderly person at home. Get somebody in your circle, make friends with maybe a mom at school also that has to pick her children from school. Get her to pick yours too. You're not telling her to go out of her way. It's something she would have done. She's just doing it. So let's say you are here, your mom is staying with you because she stays closer to the hospital. Your sibling is in Lagos, but she's not staying nearby. So you are the one primarily taking care of her. If you know that one way that your life can be easier is having ready-made meals in the freezer, send the person money, your other sibling, that is maybe a woman also. Get her, that is just an example, by the way. When she's doing her market runs, give her money to do market runs for you too and get your things to you. You don't have to be the one to do the cooking and the market runs and everything. In fact, if she can cook in bulk and send to you, let her do it. You are taking care of your mom. You are doing a large percentage of the work already. Don't be shy to let people know how they can show up for you. And because this is a joint responsibility, they feel as though it is too much for them. They should think of something else, think of another way, let people know. So for me, for example, we can have like a weekly calling session with all the siblings. These are ways I am struggling. How can you individually, each of you, how can you help him? How can you chip in case of children? Your dad, the dad is also what is it called, is your husband, is your spouse, is your lover. Even if you're the primary caregiver of these children, you have a partner in him. They might not be able to come through for you physically, but trust me, there will be other ways that they can, if you leave room for that, if you allow that to happen. Self-compassion in Yoruba for me is like kéèyàn láàánú ara èèyàn lójú. If you have mercy on yourself, you take pity on yourself. You see yourself as somebody that I don't deserve to suffer. I don't deserve to go through hardship. You look for ways. The same way if it was a loved one that was going through that hard time, you seek ways. You seek ways to help them also. People go online soliciting for funds for people they do not know. Why can you not speak to your loved ones about how to come through for you to make your life easier? So that is one argument that I want you to sit with. Another thing is, get a therapist. This is the last one. This is the utmost one. This is the one that I will put my money on. Get yourself a therapist. This especially applies to people that are in a long-term caregiving role, whether it is as a mom, because for the most part of their growing up years, or it's with somebody that is elderly. You know that they are near their grave, but we are not praying for them to die. You don't know how long this will take. You need somebody in your corner. I don't mean a coach. Coaches are wonderful. I have had coaches, I still have them. But I mean a licensed psychotherapist, preferably one that is well versed in handling cases like yours that have to do with caregiving. They will help you to identify patterns that are peculiar to you, things that you are doing. Talking to a therapist, contrary to popular opinion, is not ranting. You are not just ranting. They will listen without judgments. That is one. They will help you to identify unhealthy patterns and then teach you how to break those patterns. They will also have check ins with you in a more professional way, in a more benefiting way than if you had it with your loved ones. Okay, so I think that the same way I advocate for hiring help, for getting somebody in to help you, meanwhile, help does not have to be somebody that lives with you. Help could be somebody that does your laundry. They just come once a week, they take care of all the laundry, or they come twice, one day for washing, the other day for folding and ironing. It could be that. It could be somebody that comes in every day. They come in the morning, they leave in the evening. And if you are somebody that is okay with having somebody actually live with you the entire time, that is okay as well. Get help. So the same way I advocate for getting help is the same way I would advocate for getting a therapist as well. Some of the tips for me would be get somebody that shares your spiritual values, your physical values, in fact, your values in all sense and ramifications. They are there. There are so many therapists out there that can help you with one. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us and ease our affairs. It is not easy. I will say this. I do not know you. I don't know what corner of the world you are hearing this, but if you are a caregiver, I am rooting for you. I am proud of you. I love you so much for the sake of Allah, and I pray that Allah eases your affairs. I pray that Allah grants you the most, He rewards you in the most beautiful ways in this world and in the hereafter. I pray that Allah eases it such that every day by day, beautifully, such that you do not feel stuck in this pattern. It can be very frustrating, but I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala eases it for you. I do. And I pray that when we are old as well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants us the most beautiful systems and people in place to take care of us. And I pray that Allah grants our parents rizq and He blesses them abundantly for taking care of us as well when we were little. And if you fall into in the category of those who are taking care of disabled or special needs individuals, I pray that Allah comes through for you in ways beyond your imagination. You people are Allah's vicegerents on earth. You are literally, subhanallah. Ah, I pray that Allah continues to grant you more and more mercy, such that you show it to those that you are catering for. And I pray that Allah grants you the support system that you need so that you also do not feel burnt out at the end of the day. Jazakumullahu khairan for listening. I'm also grateful to the organizers for calling me in and having me over. May Allah reward us all abundantly. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm done.